I will teach you everything I know on how to make a great thumbnail that gets many clicks on YouTube. And by doing that, I will give away all of the secrets, all the knowledge I've gained from having 3 businesses so far that all needed content to get skyrocketed and made money. So, if you don't know yet who I am, my name is Fabian Werner. I'm a student at the University of Applied Sciences Würzburg-Schweinfurt, where I'm proudly recognized as one of the top 20% of students. And as I've said, I've already started 3 businesses, an online e-commerce store, a productized service agency, and now my personal brand. And each and every one of these businesses was fueled by social media content, essentially. And in this video, I will teach you how I make thumbnails that get hundreds, if not millions, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views. And I will teach you my entire process, everything I've learned, every principles and best practices I've developed myself down the line. So I hope you enjoy. I will go through every detail in a screen recording, and I will see you on the other side. Enjoy. Welcome to the screen recording. Before I walk you through step by step how I design a real thumbnail that actually gets put up on my channel, I will show you this summary I've made of every thumbnail format there is to give you a little bit of theory before we go into the practical application of actually designing a thumbnail. So I've made this database, so you can feel free to screenshot it or rebuild it on your own, whatever. So I've watched a bunch of YouTube in my life, and these are all of the different thumbnail concepts I came up with. So these are all the different ones that I've found so far. And I've watched a video once about this topic. I forgot the name and the creator, but that's where I'm referencing all of these from. So 21 different thumbnail concepts are there. So let's walk through each of them quickly, and I explain why they work. So first of all, we have shock and awe. Well, shock works because we are drawn to stuff happening very quickly. Large numbers are interesting, more interesting than smaller numbers, and uneven numbers are more interesting than even numbers. So this could actually be improved by some weird uneven number as well. Then reactions are always nice because we are drawn to faces in thumbnails, and the more, well, deformed the face is, the more we're drawn to it. Then quotes, we have to read text when we see it. This is just psychologically anchored in our brains. So we first read the text, then we look at a face, and then anything else, if at all. Then next one is questions. Again, same format. We read text when we see it. So we will also read this piece of text, and then we have a look at this woman who looks a little bit uncomfortable, which makes us feel uncomfortable, which makes us probably want to have an answer to this question, and then we click on a video. Then Jeopardy, we always like fun, we like humor, and that's why these thumbnails work. It's the same with those kinds of thumbnails. They are software based, or they are just a simple screenshot. And yeah, so branded thumbnails are recognizable. So for example, as with Colin and Samir, if you have a color scheme, for example, always black and yellow, then people recognize your thumbnail because of your branding. Then the next row is, let's make it like this. So the next row, social hacking, is that it works to put familiar faces on thumbnails. So a lot of people might be familiar with MKBHD, aka Marques Brownlee, who is a famous reviewer of tech. And if you yourself are not that famous yet, you can leverage a personality that many people of your niche or target audience might know to gain traction on your thumbnails and as a result on your videos. Then high and low saturation, so color works really well. For example, this bright color in front of this darker background, it adds a lot of dimension and contrast is always great because it makes us see what is actually going on. Then headers are great. This is like the same as on a movie, like, poster. We are drawn to huge amounts of text, so we always show or give it attention. Then these me thumbnails are great because they show scale. So for example, human versus giant fountain. You see small, big. Oh my gosh, that's so huge. I have to see how huge this explosion is and if it is really that large. So it's already curiosity evoking. And pretty much every thumbnail as well as the title is, if you only take away one thing from this video, is that thumbnails as well as titles need to be curiosity evoking. That's it. You could potentially turn this video off right now, but then you might miss the best part at the end where I walk you through a design process step by step. But essentially you want to evoke curiosity. For example, let's have a look at Ryan Trahan's thumbnail right here. 41 minutes in, and he looks like this. So this is a video titled, I think, I survived the world's quietest room. And you see, oh my gosh, why is he looking like that? He's 41 minutes in. Is he good, or is he well or healthy or whatever? Same goes for this one. It's curiosity evoking. What did Eric do to end up in a situation like this? Same one is with this Mr. Beast thumbnail. So what happened previously for him to say out this loud? Then here I already mentioned it. We want to confirm our curiosity. So we have this like hypothesis. Is it really that large in real life, or is it just fake? So we click it, we get confirmed. Oh my gosh, yeah, Mark Rober actually built this thingy out of elephant toothpaste. It's really that large. And yeah, that's this kind of thumbnail. So we have curiosity again. Then here again, time lapse always works good. Before and after, or day 1, day 1000. I spent 7 days in the wilderness, whatever. Always works great. A comparison shot before after is great. Then visual comparison also is great. So this is again before after. This is time lapse before after, and this is like before after comparison, right? Transformation, same thing. The curiosity in this case would be, how did it go, the bonsai tree, from this to that? Well, that's what the video is probably about. Then ambiguity, I think it's pronounced. So the uncertainty, we want to have a conclusion to our hypotheses. What is that? Well, it's a custom play button made for Mr. Beast, but that's only to find out for you if you actually watch the video. Then recreations is always something that also evokes curiosity. Does it really work? Does it really look that good in real life? Weird objects go well because we haven't seen them, so it's something new. It's something we actually want to investigate. Are they actually real? Are they existing? So Bring Along is more relationship based, but this thumbnail from Casey performed insanely well because it is unfamiliar. So is he on a plane? What is he doing? Why does it look so luxurious while he's on a expensive plane flight and testing how it is, how the food is? That's great. Then cutouts are always great. So for example, Emma Chamberlain right here is testing different fast food chains probably, and we instantly get to know what the video is about, even though we don't have a title. And that's something you should always keep in mind, to make your thumbnail so good probably that they would not need your title. The title is just a headline, essentially, just as on a news magazine. That's why the thumbnail on a YouTube homepage takes up way more space than the titles do in comparison. Always think about it. If the titles were more important, they would have this place and the thumbnail would have this small place. So thumbnail is definitely as important as the title, but most people will always look at the image and not read every single title. And a single photo, again, shows dimension, this shows scale. Why is he alone? What is he doing there? Why is the room empty? So it's also curiosity evoking. With that being said, we have a bunch of theory. The only thing we actually need to remember is that we need to evoke curiosity. And that's what we will now try by redesigning a thumbnail. And I do that in Figma because I have the most experience in Figma. You could also do it in other software like Canva. You could even try to take or pick a suggested thumbnail of YouTube when you upload your video, but that's only advised with caution because it actually has to absolutely fit your style of video to make it raw and uncut, and that's for only a few people the best decision to make. So ideally you want to design a thumbnail from scratch. And how I do that? Well, my branding is black, so I will start with the thumbnail dimensions. Thumbnail dimensions are always HD, so we go with a resolution of 1920 by 1080. If you want to learn Figma, by the way, I have an entire video, a small course, in which I teach you the entire software. So if you want to go step by step along, well, you don't have the media, but essentially you could, then watch the Figma tutorial video on my channel first, and then you understand every single button right here. But this video is more about thumbnail design itself, not explaining how the software works that I use to design the thumbnails. So then I want to make it black because black and white is my brand color. That's simple. And let's rename it to a thumbnail simply. And we want to evoke curiosity. This is our video title. I just put it here for reference. So a video about I answer your personal questions. And I have this habit of making notes on my iPad when I'm answering questions. And this was a note where somebody asked me what my favorite Minecraft block was, and I answered that it is the crafting table and explained the functionality of the crafting table. So I definitely want this to go in the background. And the second thing we need is my face, because it just makes people recognize the brand. So it's essentially when they see my face, you know, oh, it's a video from me. That's definitely what I recommend. Except you're not showing your face, then I would highly recommend you use brand colors, meaning the same colors over and over again. All right. So first of all, what we want to do with this one is, or let's start not with image editing. Let's first find a thumbnail image of mine. And a really productive way I found to do this fast and efficient is to make a photo shoot one time, then save all of the images. Then you have a bunch of images that you can go through and find each emotion. So you don't need to basically take an image for each video you make individually. You make one session maybe every quarter or so, and then you have, and ideally do it with many different outfits. I've just started here, so this is just the one shirt I was rocking, but you can do it with many different outfits as well. And then you have a huge database of many different emotions, and like you get the point. And then you can just look for what suits the video, and then you are good to go. So what I'm looking here is I answer your personal questions. So we want something a little bit more friendly and inviting, because it is more targeted to an audience that is already familiar with my work. So let's start with something that looks friendly, but not unfamiliar. Let's go. I think this one looks great, so I have a look if it is sharp. And if you wonder how I take these images, that is actually pretty simple. Whenever I record a video, I know that's not the way that most people suggest, but it definitely works for me since I'm recording on a cinema camera and this image is 4K, so you can zoom insanely into the image itself without losing quality. And this is just unsharp because of my camera settings, but this is something I prefer. I just take screenshots out of the videos. So I use DaVinci Resolve right here as my video editing program. And when you are in the color tab, I also have a video on how I edit my YouTube videos. So go have a look at that one if you want to learn in depth my editing process. But in the color tab, you can, wherever your player is in the timeline, grab a still of the current thing that is displayed in your player and export it as a PNG, for example. Here you see it as a PNG file. And then you get these insanely nice videos. Images, of course. So let's take this one and let's put it into the downloads folder, because now what we need to do is we need to remove the background, because my branding is always the black background and not this set. Yeah. Okay, and how do we do that? Well, we could do it with some plugin in Figma, but my personal preference is the Adobe background remover. I think it works best for my purpose, but there are also some other great ones I've worked with, like remove.bg. They are great, but not up to the quality of 4K, so you need to pay here, but they are great because you can paste an image or URL. That means you don't have to like have the file on your local machine, but you can just reference the image address from the web and copy it in here. So that works great. And if I want a little bit higher resolution, then I go to background. You see the URL. So this one is great, this one is great. But for my videos, as you can see right here, I always go with the Adobe Express Feature Image Remove Background tool. So now we can download it right here. Now we have it. We can close this tab. And now what we need to do is bring the file into our Figma project. And now we have all the files we need to design a great thumbnail. Okay, so now we can start with the image editing. The first thing I do, because again, that is my branding style, is I make my image black and white. I pump the highlights to the max and pull the shadows to the low end. And that leaves me with a pretty well-lit, contrasty-ish black and white image of myself. And the next thing I want to do is cut it to fit each pixel I mentioned, so I have it as tight as possible when I would center it later down the line in the thumbnail frame itself. So let's have a look so that we don't miss a pixel. So let's go with this, for example. And then we need not to crop the hair. So this one is great already. Now we need to do the same with this image right here as well. So let's go with this right here. And let's go with let's see which one is the first pixel. This one up here. So we drag it up over here, and we do the same for all 4 sides. So we also got to do it for this side. Now the question is, which pixel is closer? I think this one. Let's go right here. But now, what I prefer to do with this black image, of course it would work on this background as well, but what I love about Figma or any graphic editing program, I think that does not work as good in Canva, for example, is the layer option. So you can simply choose screen, and what screen will do here, it will remove all the black from your image. So it looks absolutely great. We've now turned it essentially into a PNG, which looks great. So now what we need to do is position myself and position this into the thumbnail. And for that, I will get inspired by some other thumbnails of me. And the last component that we need is this ellipse, which I always use as a gradient tool to make me pop out a little bit more. And what I want to do here is I want to position myself on this side of the thumbnail and the text on the left side. And this is because YouTube has the, let's say this, has the video timestamp always in the bottom right corner. And that means so for example, this is the YouTube layout. And if you put text over here, then the text will become unreadable because YouTube has this unremovable duration mark. So I prefer to put myself over here because it does not matter as much. And even if you have this text over here, you can still see the image in the background. So now what we will do is, since this has a height of 1080 pixels, we will downscale it so the quality is still preserved. We can remove this time thing. And now the question is, actually for this video, I answer your personal questions. What we could try is we could center it also in the middle. Let's have a look at how this is. I answer your personal questions. Now this is up to preference. And what I'm gonna do is to make it look better is I want to probably make it larger, so it's no problem if I cut a little bit of my hair off. Let's see how it looks if I max it out to the entire border. Yeah, that looks, yeah, nah, that does not look good. Let's make it a little smaller, so maybe let's go with, let's see what widths I used over here. I like to reference previous widths, so my designs all look cohesive. So let's have a look. This width looks great. And now we just drag it up over here. Okay, now what we need to do is position this thingy over here as well. We need to drag it down. Now this looks great already. And now what we need to do is, well, the question is with which width we want to go. And there I want to leave 54 pixels from the top and 54 from the bottom, which means we need a height of 972. And that's what we're going to do for this one. So we go with a height of 972. We drag it in here. We put it in the background. And now we are left with positioning it in a way that looks good. But what I see right now is that it does not look good. Now the question is what I do in cases like this. So let's just say this is our thumbnail. I create multiple iterations of a thumbnail. So let's say this is thumbnail/1, and you can do this naming in Figma. And what happens when you duplicate this entire frame right now is Figma will automatically, let's make it right here, automatically name the next iteration with a increased number. So you can always reference the iteration of the thumbnail. Okay, so what I want to do, or what I want to try is, let's remove all of the stuff again and let's only crop in this. I think, yeah, we have still in 972. So what we want to do is put this one here to the, so we want to center it, put it to the left, and align 54, 54, 54. So this is perfect. And now we can put myself in there. But I want to show, oh, this is actually a great coincidence. So let's make me, yeah, let's see. So I'd like to have this finger out of frame in this iteration. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've moved it 54 pixels in this direction. Now it is off. But what we can do is we can make me smaller and then move me along this axis. Not that there, I missed a button. I don't want to go wide, but let's see. Maybe I make myself smaller, or maybe even, let's see. Let's have a look if a thumbnail like this would be also acceptable. Let's just go with a thumbnail like this, where the ellipse is, excuse me, where the ellipse is all the way down here. This is just a spontaneous idea that I've had. Okay, so it is centered. All right, so this could also be a thumbnail that looks pretty good. To just leave out the text. And what do we do with this one? This is a little bit unfortunate. Let's go with something like this and make it larger. Yeah, let's go with this, and now we just throw in the ellipse. And now we need to position the ellipse. Maybe let's put it all the way down here as well. And let's see that it is centered behind me. Yeah. Okay. In this way. Oh, I think this does not pop enough. And like this little dot on my finger is a mistake. I just like put it in between when I was, how's it called? It was raining and you use this thingy to block the rain off of you, and I wanted to close it and it smashed my finger, so that's why I have a black dot on there. But it's about to heal off, so no worries. But And it's interesting. It's a little Easter egg. It's the Easter egg that you will have now as you have watched this video. And what I want to do as a last step is put the ellipse all the way over here so that my finger is more visible, that it's pointing to the CT, so people wonder what the CT is and it evokes curiosity. Yeah, that way it's much better. You see it? So after, before. Huge difference in my opinion. So this is way more visible now. Okay, and this way you create 3 beautiful thumbnails in a couple of minutes, having all of the rules in mind. All of those evoke curiosity. I think this one is my favorite, this is my second favorite, and this is my third favorite. Now what you could do is A/B test them, meaning you upload all of them to YouTube, exchange them every 24 hours, and then see from which 24-hour period the click-through rate was highest, meaning which thumbnail do the most people click on when they see it on their homepage, and then, well, you know which is your winner. So this is everything I have to teach you about thumbnails, at least until this point, at least of my knowledge. And if you enjoyed this video, then I would appreciate if you would write a comment what you learned or what you want me to ask, if you have any questions. And if you've learned something from this video, then I highly recommend you join my newsletter, because this is the place where I teach people everything I learn. So if I would learn something new about thumbnails, my newsletter subscribers would be the first ones to learn as well. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.